100 years later, the Titanic is still surrounded by legends. The Titanic is a mystery that will remain unanswered. There is no other naval disaster that has inspired so many movies and documentaries, books, and articles. The Titanic continues to challenge those who think they already know everything about the disaster. On the 100th anniversary of the legendary shipwreck, most of the legends surrounding the colossal steamship still have not been clarified. In fact, rumors about the Titanic began to emerge even during its construction. This is the ghosts of the Titanic. We begin The Documentalist.
Number 1. Hits at the bottom.
According to legend, shortly before the construction of the ship was finished, in the area where the vessel had its second bottom, there were constant knocking sounds. There is a popular belief that the work was done in such a hurry that several workers ended up walled in inside the hull of the ship. With those supposed knocks, they were trying to get the attention of their co-workers so they could be rescued.
A very real fiction.
16 years before the tragedy, in 1896, Futility was published, a novel by the American author Morgan Robertson, in which he tells the story of a transatlantic ship called Titan, which sank in the waters of the Atlantic Ocean after colliding with an iceberg. The Titan matches the Titanic, not only in the similarity of its name, but also in its weight, length, and capacity. Robertson also mentions that the Titan was an excessively luxurious ship which carried an insufficient number of lifeboats. Just like the Titanic, the captain's last name was also Smees.
Number 3. Titanic Save Our Souls.
On April 15, 1972, Lloyd Detmer, radio telegraph operator of the American cruiser Theodore Roosevelt, received an "Save Our Souls." The signal wasn't clear, but it was possible to make out that the ship requesting help was the Titanic. Even though he thought they would think he was crazy, Detmer reported it to the coast. The order he received was the following: do not respond to the "Save Our Souls" and continue on the planned course. Once on solid ground, representatives of the United States Secret Services explained to the crew members that there was no "Save Our Souls," or that it was a hoax. However, Detmer found it very suspicious that the explanations were given by secret agents and started his own investigation. His interest in pulling the thread eventually led him to a mental institution. However, before sinking into madness, he had the chance to examine files with reports from his colleagues. He discovered to his astonishment that the phantom radiograms from the Titanic appeared every 6 years. In April 1996, the Canadian press reported that the ship Quebec had received an "Save Our Souls" from the Titanic. On September 24, 1990, a Norwegian fishing boat discovered a young woman about 29 years old in the North Atlantic, 340 kilometers southeast of Iceland. Sitting and shivering on an iceberg, she said her name was Winnie Coates and asked about the rest of the Titanic's passengers. The captain of the fishing boat, Carl Jorgen von Schuss, took her to Oslo, where the Norwegian authorities thought the woman was crazy. The only thing that caused their doubt was that, according to reports from British Navy officers, there was indeed a Winnie Coates on the Titanic's passenger list. Another very peculiar detail was that the young woman was dressed in the fashion that was popular at the beginning of the 20th century. On August 9, 1991, another Norwegian maritime research vessel, the Nyper Larsson, discovered an elderly man almost in the same place, about 365 kilometers southeast of Iceland. Dressed in a White Star Line uniform, the company that owned the Titanic, he was taken to Oslo, where the analysis of his fingerprints matched those from 1912. Of Captain Edward John Smith. Recurring ghost? The owners of the house where Edward John Smith was born have just put it up for sale. They're asking $127,000 for it. The ghost went through the wall. He wasn't wearing a uniform, but it was definitely Edward Smith, according to the landlady. Louis Bonner insists that a captain was renting one of the rooms from him. He had the honor of seeing his legendary colleague in his room. He says his neighbors often heard strange noises and felt a breeze, cold as if it were an iceberg. To make matters worse, his kitchen was completely flooded. Just like the Titanic. We bought the house after seeing it on the news. It's been fascinating to have a connection with the history of the Titanic, and of course, this has given us an interesting topic of conversation for many years. Her husband Neil confesses. However, both of them say they are tired of the strange phenomena happening around them and want to finally throw their fears overboard for good.
Number 4. Conspiracy theory.
The conspiracy theory lies in the similarity between the Titanic and another White Star Line ship, the Olympic, which in 1911 collided with a British warship, the Hawke. The ship was damaged, but not enough to collect the insurance. The authors of the conspiracy theory believe that White Star Line switched the interiors of the two ships and the plaques with their names, and that it was the Olympic, not the Titanic, the ship that actually set sail from Southampton on April 10, 1912. They said the company wanted the ship more damaged to collect insurance. According to this theory, the captain had direct orders to put the ship at additional risk, leading to its collision with an iceberg. Apparently, the company was sure that even in the event of such a serious accident, the ship would not sink. This theory was dismissed after parts of the Titanic were recovered from the seabed, with the construction number 401 engraved on them. Was that the Titanic's? The Olympics was 400.
Number 5. Undeclared fire.
Historian Ray Boston says that on April 2nd, a fire started in Titanic's hold number 6 and couldn't be put out. Allegedly, the company decided that the Titanic had to reach New York as quickly as possible, and once there, wait for the passengers to disembark. Only then would they put out the flames. However, when the ship was sailing in the open sea, the fire caused an explosion. Boston justifies the high speed at which the Titanic was sailing at that moment by the hurry that Captain Edward Smith was in to reach the United States as soon as possible. This was The Ghosts of the Titanic. El Documentalista. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's very important that you do it so you can receive notifications when we release a new video. Add me or write to me on Facebook. I personally, with great pleasure, will answer your messages. I want to hear your ideas, stories, opinions, or just chat. Please help us share the videos. We really appreciate your support and thank you for watching this video until the end. Thank you and see you next time.